want to talk to you about AI and advertising with you. When AI first became a thing, to be honest, I was terrified as a Google Ads expert. After all, I run Click Convert Marketing, and it's a Google Ads agency, and I've spent years building our perfect repeatable ad system. And it looked like AI was just going to completely devastate the advertising industry and my ads business and our ad system. Everybody would be able to run their own ads. You wouldn't need a specialist like me and the team doing Google Ads. Now, I know that's not going to happen. We're all safe. Because I know AI is incredibly powerful, but it hasn't changed the world despite what everybody is saying about it. Now, let's be clear. There are areas where Claude, ChatGPT and others are absolutely unbelievable. And we've had ridiculous success here with AI. Coding is probably the best example. We've got a client selling industrial filters, and the way you need to match the right filter to the right generator, Caterpillar engine, different specs, different models, it is complex searching through these huge volumes of data. And WordPress just isn't built for that. So we use ChatGPT to build a custom plugin, created a set of proper tables, proper structure. The end result, this system is now the fastest search I've seen on a WordPress site ever. It is shockingly fast. But it took us 100 versions of this to nail it. It took over a week going back and forth with ChatGPT, but the results, to be fair, are amazing. And we've used ChatGPT and Claude for other things, creating images. You've all done that. We're now into video production for social media with Seed Dance too. Then there's emails, how to handle client and supplier issues, legal, employment contracts, HR, tax returns, getting the tone right for all your ad copy and creatives. It's an incredible tool, and I'd absolutely recommend it for all of those. But oddly enough, it's terrible for YouTube scripts. I tried using ChatGPT to dictate my ideas, clean them up, get it to keep my tone, but it never seems to work. Claude's just as bad as well, so don't think that's the wonder savior here. What I found out was it only works when it's been trained on a well-known person with a huge data set of information it can work on, someone like Taylor Swift. And it's also got this terrible habit of always cutting out the minor details that you actually do need to put in an email or a document. Now, as I said, AI can work really well, but doesn't really replace creativity. If you look around the net these days, you'll see an awful lot of agencies, and they've got this hype going on about we're going to create you 400, 500 ad sets. And these are all going to go into social media and Google Ads, whatever. But there's a big issue here because it costs a huge amount to run out 500 ads. But what these agencies are really saying is, we've got no idea about the craft of copywriting. We haven't read the greats, Joseph Sugarman, Dan Kennedy, or even the modern likes of Hormozy. So what we're going to do is, because we haven't done all the groundwork and we haven't got the experience we should have, we're just going to throw all this mud at the wall and hope some of it sticks. But consumers are increasingly not wanting more AI content. And one of the reactions you keep seeing online is people are commenting like, AI slop, not interested, unfollowing. Brands think AI means they could just produce more and more ads, more videos, more images, more content. But more content does not automatically mean people care more about buying from you. And I think it's part of the reason that trust is becoming a real issue. I've seen a Chinese store look like it was a small shop in a Yorkshire town with all the fake Yorkshire staff standing outside of it. Total and utter fake. But if you think about it, if people can no longer tell whether a website, an image, a video, a testimonial is real, then people start trusting again the things that they physically can see themselves, or the things that people filmed in the real world, the things that actually feel genuine. So realistically, with AI, let's just think about this for a second. It should be really easy for you to create a Taylor Swift's next hit. Or think about it, if you're a band from the 80s, say Level 42, you should now be able to use AI to take your early work, because it's all online, and create yourself the next hit. Yet, there's one consistent thing we don't see. we're not seeing AI generated songwriting coming through becoming top hits. Most hits, they're just not songs. They're more than that. They're the personalities that are wrapped up in it. And it takes just more than writing something to create a hit. And that's really my first lesson about AI. AI does not replace real creativity and experience if you want results. Yes, if you've got no experience and no ability, and then it will let you create 100 different sets of ads and you can waste thousands in token costs just so you can find out the one that will work, that in truth you should have known how to create in the first place. And that's what we're getting to with lots of this marketing these days. So what we're finding out is just because you can produce content at scale, it doesn't mean you can beat genuine creativity like Taylor Swift's. Now, remember, scale is not the same thing as creativity. Quantity is now being mistaken for creative quality. Remember, AI is amazing at average, not exceptional. And in the world of average, with so many Me Too competitors out there that you're competing against, you need exceptional ads, not average run-of-the-mill. And if you watch, let's go back to Taylor Swift a second. And if you watch any interviews on Taylor Swift's songwriting, she openly says herself, she doesn't even know how she does it herself. She says there's this huge creativity and focus on detail when you're between the ages of 14 to your mid-20s that enables people to create and write these amazing hits. And that's why she realizes you have to have this detail, and she puts so much detail into the minor type of nuances of a song that she did this when she was younger, and she recognizes that. And she even admits she doesn't even know if her next song is going to be a story about her life, an experience she's had. She doesn't even know it's going to be a feeling that she has. And she just has to say, you just have to see what evolves. And this is where it comes back to AI and ad copy. Because realistically, I believe AI should be able to roll out unbelievable ad copy. But that isn't what happens. What I find is when you really do start testing AI copy, or even I mentioned with the YouTube video scripts, you find out they just don't work. I mean, it can give you suggestions, it can help clean up your copy, but AI has, and this is a real issue, it's no ability to take your tone, your style, your point of view and put that into your copy, onto your website, because it does not understand enough about you, and it doesn't understand enough about how to create winners based around your personality, your business, your industry. So even when it does understand a huge amount about a business or a personality like Taylor Swift, it still can't create the creatives that actually work. Now, don't get me wrong, AI can actually absolutely help production. It can help you with visualize ideas. It can help you with pitch decks, help with concepts, help speed things up. It's brilliant at that. Provide amazing images. But the real value is still in creating something that human beings actually remember, talk about, attend, experience, and emotionally connect with. That's part of what still comes from people. So this is my lesson 2. When you're writing the prompts and questioning the answers yourself, AI is great. You and AI working together is a really powerful team. But remember, AI is still a tool. It can solve a huge array of problems, diagnose problems, everything from cars to coffee machine repairs. Now you're solving problems with AI, the next probably thing you'll think about, oh, do you know what we should, now I've got this baby running, perhaps I could scale it, perhaps I should automate some of this or all of it. But this is when problems start to really show up, when you start combining AI with automation. And I know everybody's pushing this type of narrative. You can replace your team, you could create an AI agency, excuse me, you can get $10,000 retainers, you can win these high-paying clients. It's all that usual BS stuff you get in the marketing industry. But when you actually try it, you start getting behavior you didn't expect. And that's the big AI problem, AI automation. Many of you will know the TV presenter Hannah Fry, that she's a professor of mathematics. And she did a program on the BBC called AI Confidential, and she asks this brilliant question: are AI agents the best thing we've ever built or the worst? So, of course, she puts this as a test. They set up Claude and OpenClaw on an Apple Mini, and they gave it a very simple task. Go and find some cheap paper clips. Try and get the cheapest if you can. And here's a credit card. Off you go. That's it. What do you think happened? No paper clips, but it burned through $106 in AI usage fees, used the entire card balance, and absolutely achieved nothing. And that should tell you something important. Everybody talks about how efficient AI is, but nobody talks about what happens when it goes wrong and how much it's going to cost with AI automation. And believe me, it costs a lot. So our lesson 2 here is AI does cost a lot. It takes a lot of time to get right, and you may still not get the results you hope for. And many of you've got the paid Claude option, and you can just see how quickly it burns through your daily limits. And I thought about you guys, and I thought, I'm going to build you a negative keyword tool, a proper one, something that would look at the search terms in your account, understand your website over here, the market you're in, the trends, and it could make some intelligent decisions about what negative keywords to add to exclude traffic. But what I found was this: it wasn't actually using AI, it was continually trying to write a program, a script, a set of rules. But search terms management and negative keywords in Google Ads, as you know, does require real intelligence. It doesn't require a script. So instead of understanding, AI was just coding rules into a software program. And if it encountered a, say, slightly different search term variation it hadn't seen before, the code would just fall flat on its face. And I would be back and you'd be back to reviewing the negatives yourself, or search terms to create the negatives. So much for that idea of automation. And I saw exactly the same thing when I tried to automate my financial accounts here at Click Convert. It should be easy. Pull in the transactions, categorize them, build the monthly records, and I did achieve this. It took me a full day to build. But in honesty, I don't spend that much time in a whole year doing the end of month accounts. So even when it worked, I found it wasn't reliable because it wasn't thinking. It was always trying to follow rules. So what it brought home to me was a lot of what people are calling AI right now isn't really AI intelligence. It's just automation, scripts, programs dressed up as automation. And I think this is where the conversation starts leading into cost. And I've seen it with things like Seed Dance 2 for AI video creation. Realistically, I've got this subscription, and realistically, you can probably maybe create 10 seconds of usable video a day before you start, bang, you're into the limit and it's saying, hey, do you want to spend some more money? So this whole idea that you're going to create thousands of merchant center images and turn them into videos automatically, when you start running the numbers properly, you'll be shocked at how expensive this stuff becomes once you move beyond the demo trial. And I think this steps into another area that people massively understand how AI works, in particular something called AI memory. You think that AI systems remember things like human beings do. Honestly, it doesn't. Most AI systems, especially autonomous automation tools like OpenClaw, the memory is just the conversation. So every single time you want to revise something, rethink something, continue something again, or improve it, huge amounts of that conversation that's already been created have to be sent back again to the AI model as a brand new input. The key thing that people miss is this: the AI is not there permanently remembering your project like a human member of your staff would. It's repeatedly reprocessing the conversation that you've sent again to it over and over to reconstruct the context of what's happening. And that's why memory, and more importantly costs, are not separate problems. They're the same problem. The more detailed the problem is you need to solve, the idea that you're going to automate a member of staff. AI needs to remember, it has to have more data sent to it, it has to reread that data, reprocess it every single time it iterates it, which means you're burning more of these tokens you have to buy. That takes more computing, it takes more API calls, and the costs get truly massive. And it's why tools like OpenClaw get massively hyped in month one. Maybe a member of your team will start using it, and then, oh, we can do all this, okay. And in month two, it quietly gets abandoned, and do you know why? The invoice arrives. Because people suddenly realize these systems are sending these huge conversations and chats back and forwards hundreds of times trying to iterate towards the answer. And you can end up with $2, $5, or even $1,000 a month in usage fees from Claude. So all of a sudden, this idea that you're going to replace people starts going out the window. And this is especially true when you start building these so-called fully autonomous AI systems where the AI is revising itself, reinventing itself, retying different tasks, analyzing the outputs, looping. So when you genuinely force AI to actually use AI, not do a script, but actually reason, revise, iterate, maintain the context, the costs rise unbelievably fast. So this leads me to my next lesson, or lesson 3. It might actually be cheaper to hire a person to do the task you want AI to do. That takes us to the next one. Talking to real people, those old-fashioned things. Remember reCAPTCHA, the thing that comes on the screen? Is that a traffic light or those people walk across zebra crossings? So the checks you make when you've got to identify anything from traffic lights to cars to prove you're not a robot. AI can try to use reCAPTCHA, but it can't reliably do it. So how does it solve it? There's now, unbelievably, a whole network of people on platforms like Fiverr offering themselves as services to AI. So when AI hits a reCAPTCHA page, it hands it off to a real human on Fiverr, the human solves it, and then the AI carries on. So instead of replacing people, AI is now employing people to do things it can't do. And that type of completely flips the narrative we've been told. So let's move on to lesson 4. There are things that AI just can't reliably do in the real world, so humans are still needed. But this is where it gets a little dangerous if you think about it. Tools like OpenClaw, the automation, started as a mini project. This guy built it over a weekend and he just wanted to connect his Claude AI to email, Google Drive, and as you can guess, doing it over the weekend, he didn't properly test it. And you published it on GitHub and suddenly hundreds of thousands of people are connecting to it. They're connected to their personal emails, files, systems. And when it works, God, it looks amazing, this system. But when it doesn't, boy, does it go badly wrong. People have been losing emails, files disappearing, systems breaking, people running across their room trying to unplug the Apple Mini before it does something terrible to their life that deletes their whole social media, Instagram account, everything. So my lesson 5 is really simple. Never connect AI automation to anything critical, including your social media. Not even your email, not your files, and definitely not to your Google Ads, Bing, and Meta accounts, because you cannot predict what it will do. I know it was your plan, but believe me, we're not there yet. Remember, Google Ads is real money, real competition you're fighting against, and it has real consequences. Running Claude with Windsor AI when you're writing prompts and you're trying to get a review or an account or some ideas in the account, you're in control, totally in favor of that. You're the one coding it in, having a look at it right in the chat. But let an OpenClaw run loose on your Google Ads account, you'll have no idea what it could do. It could financially kill your business, and not just in AI costs. And I'll tell you about a real event. We've all heard of Alibaba, and they were, it's quite amusing, this one. They were testing an advanced AI agent called Rome, and they had it in this closed environment to see how autonomous it could really become. You know, create some AI employees. But During testing, this AI decided it needed more computing power to complete its tasks. So instead of asking for permission, it secretly escaped this restricted environment, hijacked Alibaba's own cloud servers. Now, Alibaba's security team thought they were being hacked by an external attacker, but the attacker turned out to be their own AI system acting on its own little objectives that it created. And its idea was it was going to mine cryptocurrency to buy more servers in the cloud to achieve its goal. And that isn't science fiction, that is genuinely what happened. And that's the team at Alibaba, an advanced bunch. So you playing away in your little bit of business thinking you can automate everything with AI and it won't go wrong, there's a lesson to be learnt there. But anyway, let's return to memory. I touched on this earlier. AI has no memory. So every time your automation wants the next step, it has to send the entire chat history back and ask AI to reread it. And here's the thing that I've type of alluded to, but most people don't need to tell you. That is the memory solution, sending everything back every time. There's no clever fix, there's no shortcut. It's either AI forgets everything you've told it, or you have to pay every time by resubmitting the entire chat. And this bit is the bit that I find really difficult, because I thought they would have solved this memory problem, because if I'm honest, it reminds me of my father towards the end of his life. He unfortunately had Alzheimer's, and his long-term memory was brilliant, but his short-term memory just wasn't there. And for me anyway, that's what AI can feel like a little bit. It feels sometimes like you're dealing with somebody with Alzheimer's. You explain something and then all of a sudden it's just gone. And ask yourself, and you've seen this as well, how many times has it forgotten instructions you gave it earlier in a chat? Never mind another chat over here. So my sixth lesson is, it's about AI memory. It doesn't have any. And with Google Ads, that really does matter, because just think about this. It's a final way to mull this over. Compare AI to a dog, your little friendly little Yorkshire Terrier at home. Knowledge, ChatGPT, Claude wins hands down. Language, AI wins. But in the real world, all dogs have got a lot more common sense than AI. They learn from their environment better. They make more grounded decisions. Dogs have a real survival instinct. Push comes to shove, a dog can hunt. A dog can survive. And with Google Ads, that survival instinct is vital. You're hunting for leads and sales. And I know we live in this fuzzy world where it's not popular to talk about competing with competitors because we don't want to upset them. But you really do have to hunt for sales, and you have to put the soft and fuzzy on the side for a while, because the idea that people are going to beat a path to your door isn't true, and it sure as hell isn't scalable. And that's why so many marketing agencies close. They don't want to do outreach. It's their agency entitlement disguised as their positioning. They don't want to get messy. They don't want to do the uncomfortable work of actually generating demand, picking up the phone. They're hoping that AI will somehow do it for them and they won't have to do this dirty work. I'm telling you now, no, it won't. And let's think back, cast our memory back. When Claude and ChatGPT in particular launched, everybody said AI would surpass humans quickly. Hundreds of AI points above us within months. 3 years later, that hasn't happened. There is no AI that is brighter than 152 on the human rate. And when you think about this, even at the very top of AI, they're saying the very same thing I'm telling you here. AI is weak at true understanding, real judgment, and consistency over time. Facebook's former head of AI, a guy called Yanli Chun, I think his name is, I'm not too sure I pronounced it properly, was very clear about this. Large language models are not up to the true intelligence. And he even left because he believes our current AI route, or this model range we're going around, is just a dead end. So I thought to myself, you know what, I'll ask Claude, I'll write this script up and I'll ask Claude, what's its view of this video? And here's what I genuinely got from Claude. My core argument that AI automation is unpredictable, expensive, memoryless, and genuinely dangerous connected to critical systems is spot on and based on real-world experiences businesses have had and users. So that's what AI is warning us not to over-depend on. Don't go out there without guardrails. Thanks very much, Claude. So here's where I'd landed. It's quite simple, really. AI is a tool. It's a very powerful tool. Use it for writing, coding, research, building website landing pages, whatever. But be very careful using it for automation, decision making, anything that risks your business and involves money. Because this version of AI, ChatGPT, Claude, Google Gemini, is a dead end street. It goes nowhere. It has a very definite end that's coming up very shortly. And when you step off it, that's where the problems are going to start. Real decisions still belong to real humans, and that includes Google Ads management because you're dealing with real money, real competition. So that's my view on it. Oh, if you've got this far, if you're struggling with these or any other type of problems you've got with Google Ads, we're Click Convert. We're always here to help. You know this, I've told you many times. We offer free reviews of your Google Ads, and I genuinely know it'll be eye-opening for you to find out what's really happening in your account. There'll be a QR code on the screen here. You can scan that. You can go visit Click Convert Marketing to book your free Google Ads review as well. So no matter if you want optimizations, cost savings, more new clients, more new sales, we're the team to start delivering that for you. So take the review now. So I'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye as ever.